The workshop aboard the diplomatic station buzzed with the subtle precision of cutting-edge alien technology. Yet James Morrison paid little attention to the surrounding noises as he focused intently on his workbench. Before him lay the detailed chest piece of Caltharian, its biometallic surface shining brightly under the intense work lights. The armor was the property of Ambassador Miniketh R.A., who preferred to be addressed simply as Mino. She noted the fragility of his hands from her vantage point, her elegant figure creating a shadow over his meticulous work area. The Caltharians possessed a humanoid form, yet they were undeniably otherworldly. Their skin exhibited a delicate shimmer that transitioned from rich blue to silver, while their eyes, larger than those of a human, featured pupils that narrowed to thin slits in bright illumination. James remained focused on his task, his fingers gliding over the armor's surface as he meticulously followed the delicate hairline fractures in the biometal. Subtle, perhaps, yet exacting. That's the outcome when your kind dedicates countless years to mastering instruments, rather than depending on innate defenses. He sensed her gaze upon him, meticulously observing his every move with the fervent interest that had characterized their exchanges since the peace talks commenced 3 months prior. The Caltharian Empire and the human coalition had been entangled in a prolonged standoff for decades, each side regarding the other with mistrust and simmering animosity. But Mino stood apart from the other Caltharian diplomats. She appeared truly captivated by the brilliance of human creativity instead of being dismissive of it. "The armor's biomatrix is truly captivating," James remarked, fine-tuning his microwelder to align with the material's molecular frequency. "It feels as though it possesses a life of its own, reacting to harm by striving to mend itself." However, the designer of this clearly overlooked the implications of kinetic weaponry. "The force broke apart the framework in ways your civilization's energy arms never managed to achieve." Mino edged nearer, just within reach of the faint metallic aroma that seemed to cling to every Caltharian. "The armor proved its worth in the conflict, standing strong against the oppressive raiders. Without it, I would have met my end, and these peace talks would have remained a distant dream." James halted his task, finally raising his gaze to meet hers. "Do you genuinely believe this agreement will succeed, considering all that our nations have inflicted upon one another?" Her wide eyes examined his features with a focus that left him feeling a bit uneasy. "I believe," she remarked with deliberation, "that humans possess a greater significance than my kind acknowledges. Your kind gathers fragments and restores them to their original form. You perceive opportunities where others recognize only obstacles." "That's the instinct to endure," James replied, refocusing on the armor. "When faced with overwhelming odds in every battle, one must adapt and find clever solutions or face dire consequences." The biometal started to react to his careful touch. The broken parts gradually began to merge as he skillfully directed the restoration effort. The task required a gentle touch. Excessive heat would cause the living metal to perish, while insufficient heat would prevent the bonds from forming correctly. He discovered he was holding his breath while he toiled, utterly engrossed in the endeavor. "There," Mino said softly, and he became aware that she had drawn even nearer, now positioned directly behind him. He sensed the comforting warmth of her presence behind him. "The look on your face is identical to the one you had when you cracked the translation matrix issue that had our linguists puzzled. Complete concentration, as though no other element in existence matters." James experienced a warm sensation creeping up his face. "I simply enjoy repairing things. It's always been my passion." "Proceed," she urged, her tone soft and almost inaudible. "Keep going." He couldn't quite discern whether she referred to the armor repair or something different altogether, yet he persisted in his task, acutely conscious of her closeness. The biometal was reacting splendidly now, the living tissue revitalizing along the routes he had meticulously crafted. It felt akin to executing a delicate operation on a sentient being. "How do you accomplish that?" Mino inquired. "How can one grasp the requirements of something so alien to their own biological makeup?" James laid aside his instruments and stood tall, finally directing his gaze toward her. She was nearer than he had understood, near enough that he had to tilt his gaze upward just a bit to connect with her eyes. Perhaps it's because I perceive it as familiar. Existence is existence, regardless of being rooted in carbon or crafted from biometallic elements. All things strive for existence, to restore, to regain completeness once more. A glimmer danced in her expansive gaze. Perhaps astonishment or acknowledgement. Is that the perspective you hold when you observe the divide between our communities? Is there something that can be mended? James expressed with sincerity that he observes two civilizations that have lost sight of the potential they could achieve in unity rather than in isolation. Your kind possesses an extraordinary command of organic machinery that is beyond our understanding. My people possess a remarkable ability to adjust and create in ways that your society's inflexible framework does not foster. Envision the possibilities we could create as a team. Mino extended a slender finger, delicately brushing against the mended part of the armor. Where her finger touched, the biometal glowed, its surface undulating like a gentle wave. The armor acknowledges the restoration as an integral aspect of its being now. At this stage, it will possess greater strength than it did prior to the damage. At times, James remarked softly, the fractured areas transform into the most resilient ones after they have been thoroughly mended. She gazed at him for an extended moment, and he noticed a change in her expression. Maybe you have a point, James Morrison. Perhaps what our communities require is not merely an agreement, but an individual dedicated to mending the fractured connections among us. The armor rested on the workbench, shining and intact, a symbol of the achievements possible when various skills and insights united. James understood that this moment, this straightforward act of mending, could be recalled as the inception of something far grander than either of them had envisioned. In the distance, the station's bells rang out the hour, summoning them back to the formal discussions. Yet, in the serene buzz of the workshop, two figures from distinct realms discovered shared purpose in the timeless wish to restore what was once fractured.